Hey guys, welcome along to another episode of Double Tap, and today on the show we're diving back into the inbox. Shaun Priest, don't do it! Don't!
I can't help it!
This is Double Tap, where blind people talk tech. Here's Stephen Scott and Shaun Priest.
I'm so nervous about jumping into the inbox these days, diving in, because you're going to just come in with that nonsense.
Excuse me, that's firstly not the sound that I make, and secondly, who started it?
Someone else.
I believe it was you, Stephen Scott.
I believe it was absolutely
nonsense.
maybe me. Okay, maybe it was. How are you doing today? We're feeling good. It's we're in Tuesday?
Something like that. Yeah, I am feeling great, Stephen Scott. I'm full of vim and life and energy.
Oh. Well, do you know what I'm full of? Do you know what I'm full of over here?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Actually, you know, it's funny. I often used to say to people, I say, you know, I'm constantly hearing people saying that I am full of it. At least I think that's what they're shouting.
Okay.
That's how
Quickly move on.
Yeah, let's move on. Email time. Yeah.
Already?
Let's just get into it.
This is wrong. Ding dong.
Here's your mail today.
It's too soon. Oosh.
Nearly
no, I
forgot there.
Why, this is just wrong, Stephen Scott. Straight into the 20-minute ramble about cheese and feet or something.
Cheese and feet. What a beautiful...
They go together.
There you go. The things I was going to say there, and Bruno got me cancelled almost instantly as it was running. Do you know what's funny? That joke was running to the front of my mind, and it just thankfully tripped up and fell on its face.
Emails, quickly.
Yeah, let's get into it, shall we? We're going to kick off with Doug, who wants to talk about Glide.
Good afternoon, or good day, Stephen and Shaun. Doug Lawler here from Kingston, Ontario. Just want to, of course, congratulate Glide on the $4 million round of funding. That is lovely. Just a comment, I guess, on the rollout. It really makes sense that they're rolling out to Canada US, Canada, and the UK first. And I think the reason why that is, above all else, they want to test scalability of the infrastructure. Not just the technology of the Glide, but the technology, like the servers that need to be put in place, the infrastructure, that back-end computing infrastructure. I think they're doing this to make sure that they have the infrastructure up and running and the infrastructure in the right places for the people that are using the Glide. So I guess a good example of this, I'm in Eastern Canada. So I guess they would want to make sure that, yes, we have enough infrastructure on the East Coast and on the West Coast. And Canada and the US, in many cases, use the same infrastructure, really, to provide a lot of the back-end data to a lot of major companies. So that makes perfect sense. And in the UK, I guess they'll have to make sure that they have enough in the UK. And then I guess there's the European Union, which is probably a whole different kettle of fish altogether. So I believe that this makes perfect sense. They want to make sure that they can scale in the areas, like geographical areas that they need to scale to. I believe that's where they're going here.
Okay. This
makes perfect sense, but I have pre-ordered one of these, and I am certainly looking forward to mine. And when I get it, I will do a demo of some kind and give sort of a review of this thing. I'll take it around a few familiar routes that I'm familiar with and see how it reacts and see what it does. It's very interesting times. Take care, all.
Yeah, thank you, Doug. Well, we look forward to the demo, and hopefully we'll get some more nature in the background. Oh, I love me a soundscape, Shaun Priest.
Yeah, who doesn't? We're blind. We love soundscapes.
Mm-hmm.
It sounded very nice. So, Stephen Scott, Glide not being available in Europe currently, at least, or at least at launch. Have you seen the discussions, let's put it that way, about this?
I haven't, actually. I know you were telling me. Well, I don't go looking for it anymore. There was a time, I used to love a bit of gossip, but, those days are kind of gone.
Well,
and it's not like you don't fall over hate all over the internet anyway, so, it's I haven't really been going out seeking it.
not looking for gossip, Stephen Scott. I was just
Really?
seeing in the usual
You're reading
places.
your Facebook groups with popcorn again, have you?
Yeah,
What is the feedback been like? What are people saying?
People aren't happy. I think some people are jumping on this that have been saying from the start, oh, this just won't happen. Some people are almost rubbing their hands together and using this as to point to almost. See, it's not in Europe. I don't think it'll even come out at all. There's been quite...
Or people think it's not even going to happen at all?
It's not going to happen at all, yes.
Right, okay.
Every time there's a delay or something, then people, see, I told you. I don't quite know why there's seems like almost glee and pleasure in something, see, I told you it's not going to happen. It's trying to justify their opinion.
Look, there's people who, I remember a great line from a TV show I used to watch, and, they say, people just love to complain. There's people who'd walk around the Garden of Eden moaning about cell phone signal. Those are the kind of people just love to hate. People love to shout. People love to get annoyed.
Well, yeah, but I've heard some, arguments with legitimate concerns and questions about how Glide's going to work and how it's actually going to roll out. So that's perfectly fair and valid. Yeah. But there's lots of people in Europe aren't happy with this. And
that's for good reason, I could say. I mean,
absolutely.
People have been looking forward to this. There was hope that it was coming because it was told it would be available in many countries. And I know that was the initial intention, was to roll it out to as many countries as possible. Now, it's interesting, Doug, that you have the view that it's good that it's starting in Canada and the US. I wonder if they said over at Glide, we're going to start in Europe first and then we'll roll out to the US and Canada. Would Doug feel the same way? I'm wondering.
Makes perfect sense, Doug would be saying, of course.
I'd hope so, yeah.
But going to Doug's point, I mean, quite honestly, I thought the same thing. This is all about logistics, right? A phased rollout. How many times have we seen a tech company roll a feature or a product out and made it US only for the longest time? Amazon are always doing that. Make it US only just to see, how it sells, how the server load is, and then there's physical logistics as well when we're talking about the Glide. What if it needs repair or whatever? I totally can go with that, Doug, except when the UK comes into it. I mean, how does the UK fit into that story?
I think that the reality is the US, Canada, and the UK are all very similar in terms of the countries, language, all of these things. We share a lot, and we're very similar in a lot of ways.
So is Australia.
Well, yeah, but that's a huge distance issue there. This is a small company, right? So actually, in a lot of ways, I'm surprised they're not just launching this in the US.
Me too.
If they had turned around and said, this is US only, that wouldn't have surprised me too much. It would have almost made more sense. So the fact they're rolling out to Canada and the US and the UK initially is interesting. And I think the key thing here is for them, they need to gather as much data as well, right? It's two-way street in this situation because they need the devices out there to gather the data so they can improve on it and make it better for people in other countries, whatever they may be, in Europe or elsewhere.
Well, yeah, and I think there may be another aspect to it, not just the the phased rollout, but also how many people in that specific country have pre-ordered it.
Well, that could have been a decider, yeah. I mean, I also think European regulation is another thing. I mean, we're seeing already, there's live translation not coming to Europe through the AirPods Pro 3s, which is weird to me that's not appearing. I mean, translation's available, so why would... And actually, I hate to say it, but live translation, this is something I think sometimes these regulators can almost box themselves in. I mean, yeah, of course I'm for regulation, and we need to be for regulation. But sometimes I think, is it going too far in some ways? Like, I mean, I think about translation. I'm trying with all my might here, but how can that be a bad thing for anybody to be able to communicate with someone else in a different language? Tell me the issue.
The issue is what companies have done in the past with the being the man in the middle, handling all that spoken conversation. What are you going to do with that? You delete that straight away. Well, we don't want to do that, actually. We want to keep hold of it. We want to train our AI with it. That's the Amazon Echo
finished. That's the Google Home finished. That's the iPhone finished. That's any smart TV finished. Basically, anything with a microphone in it is applicable with that rule then. There's no difference here with this particular feature. But there's no difference with this feature, so why? What's the difference?
Well, perhaps Apple don't have got plans to do stuff with that data that they're not happy to sign up with the EU regulation.
If I'm trying to ask for sore bottom ointment in a pharmacy in France,
Yes.
and I'm hoping that someone can help me, then it's no worse off than me moaning about the fact I got a sore bottom in my house with my Amazon Echo listening to every word I'm saying, working out what it can sell me next.
Well, it depends.
Ideally,
if Amazon...
sore bottom cream.
Please stop using that as an example. Perhaps Amazon have signed the agreement to say that they will not, sell that data on or keep it for more than 20 days or train their AI with it. We don't know.
Well, I think that might be the bigger issue, actually. It's not so much that the data is being kept, although that may be part of it, but I think it is about the training of the data. And, the problem is that these AIs only work on feeding it more data. So you're never going to get around that in Europe. So does this is going to have a massively detrimental effect.
We don't even know if that
services in these countries.
We don't know if that's the reason when we're talking about the Apple translation. I mean, is it done on device? Do you need a connection? Is it sent out to the cloud? Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, strange that it's not available yet. I mean, it is yet. And the same with Glidance. I mean, this is the other thing. With Glide, it's not available yet in Europe. That's not to say it's not coming. Yes, of course, as you're saying, there are people online who may be saying, well, that's it. This is the death knell for it. It's not even coming out at all. I think the problem is with any product in our space, whenever there's delays that begin, and that happens a lot. Glide are not the only company to delay a product's launch. I mean, we can talk about many products, many companies, if not all, exactly at some point. I think some companies are perhaps better at messaging it out, so they won't mention anything about a product until it's released. Some companies, I always think Humanware are quite good at that. I very rarely ever hear about a product coming out from Humanware that never materializes. It usually gets announced when it's coming. It's like, here it is.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's then you can go buy it. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe I don't know a huge amount, but I think about the Victor Reader launch when the third generation came out. It was fairly instant when it was available. I wasn't hanging around waiting. And I think that's the problem. We're often so quick to try and feed the beast that is, shows like us, in the space where people are trying to get the latest news, get the latest, tell us the latest.
Shovel some more news in.
But actually, it would be better if they just waited till the product was ready to actually go.
Yeah, but also beyond that, it depends on the company cash flow as well. It may be the need to announce or pre-announce a product to try and get some investment and funding to make that product almost...
Yeah, and I think with Glide, or Glidance, I should say, the company, what they've tried to do is build community around this. And I think they've been very successful at that. The people who are intrigued and excited by this device. I will say this, I think they've probably got a year from the sort of end point, or the spring of 2026. They've got probably a year. If nothing appears in that year, they've got problems, I would say. I personally have no knowledge as to whether or not they're going to launch in 2026 spring. I mean, I hope they will. And I think the plan is for a phased rollout rather than, an immediate kind of like launch day, bang, that's it, here's 8 million units, you can go buy them. That's not the intention here. They also probably won't have 8 million units to go out and sell. Based on, just looking at the new, these rumored Hypernova glasses from Meta AI that are supposed to be getting announced on September 17th.
What glasses?
Well, they are saying these glasses are going to come out and it will be in small quantity of 150 to 300,000 units, which is interesting, right? So, my point being is that the Glide is not going to roll out massively and quickly. But I think the most important thing is if I'm putting my life in its hands, and I'm going to be taking my cane and putting it away, folding it up, and using this thing instead, I want to know it's right. I want to know it's working properly. So, I'd rather they took the time. I think it's a more responsible thing to do. And I think the problem, to some degree, there's an issue with transparency sometimes, is that you're telling people so much that they either get confused by the message or they just expect you to tell them it's the final result, or whatever you tell them is the final answer. And that what they're saying is, look, we're movable here. We're a startup. We're nimble. And, we are going to change our mind and change direction on things. And I think it's a good thing. Well, no, I think Glide are doing that. I think Glidance are doing that. I think they're being honest. They're being transparent. They're saying,
I meant
look,
the hardware. I don't want it to change its mind and change direction.
No,
Sorry, Steve.
Straight onto the road. Yeah. So I'm making a serious point here, and you're making jokes.
Sorry,
it's my job.
Carry on. Look, I think they're damned if they do and damned if they don't. You're either too transparent and confusing people, or you're not telling people and sharing enough and keeping us in the loop.
Or you're being so transparent, someone thinks you're hiding something, which is another side of it, right? It's like you almost like you become. It's not believable how transparent.
You get a connection, you get a vibe, you get a feeling, and I think I've got no skin in the game. Is that what they used to say? But no. I think Glide as a company and as being able to talk with the team, I just think they've got really good intentions behind it. So I do have that trust there. So maybe that's different. I think Amos Miller's a great guy. Spent a lot of time with this guy, as you have, and I get such a good feeling, and the team as well. They're really passionate about what they do. So I really am hopeful this is going to roll out well. And I can't wait to get hands on with it. I can't wait to try. I can't wait to hear people using it. So, Doug, yourself, and any others who get their first experience with it, do tell us how you get on. Yeah, we can't wait, Doug. Thank you very much.
Especially because I think that's it. The next stage, and I actually said this in my most recent chat with the guys at Glidance. I said, look, the thing that people are looking for now are those real world test examples. We've done the stuff in the safe places. The layout where you've got the foam cones and kid on guide dogs or whatever it is that they've got sitting there. We've done all that.
Kids on guide dogs.
Kid on guide dogs. Not kids on guide dogs.
No, okay. That's such a Scottish phrase. I think you mean pretend or fake guide dogs.
That's what I was absolutely meaning. Okay. Did that not travel well? Okay, right.
No,
Thank you. I can't believe I've got you to be my international ambassador for English.
Like kids on guide dogs, it doesn't travel well.
That's very true, yeah. Bad idea. Don't do that with your kids. Bad idea. Don't put your kids on the guide dogs.
Sorry, I keep putting you off. What were you saying?
I have no idea. But let's move on.
Done.
Thank you, Doug. Appreciate the message. Let's move on to another message. I think this one might be aimed at me.
Hi, this is Douglas from Texas, living in Nuremberg again, the opera singer. I do have a general MacBook Air question. I've got a MacBook Air 2, and I'm having issues with the QuickNav. When I open the computer, I lift the lid up, I make sure that the QuickNav is on so that I can, can move through all the things that are on my desktop, or just move through things in general. The problem I'm having is I can move in one left or right arrow once, and then I have to redo the QuickNav. I have to turn it off and on again to do it again. Unless I go to what is that thing? The space bar. Space bar.
What
is that?
Space bar.
Control. And that opens up a search function so that you can find things. Mm-hmm. And then I clear that out. Then it works for a longer period of time. Is there a bug that's going on that the QuickNav will not stay engaged? I keep having to turn it on and off after just using it one time. One click, and it stops working. Any suggestions from anyone would be greatly appreciated because this is the bane of my existence, and I feel the strongest desire to open my window and see my MacBook fly across the promenade in front of my house like a flying saucer to its death and its demise. Thank you. You guys have a lovely day.
Yeah. Well, I hope.
Change your mood.
I kind of feel I don't have to answer this because I feel the MacBook may not have survived the weekend. So I don't know if we need to address this question. We can just move on, Shaun. It's fine.
Yeah, so you don't know the answer then. Good. Okay.
Well, I don't use QuickNav on the Mac, I'll be honest. I don't use it very much because
What?
There seems to be like 2 or 3 different ways you can use QuickNav. I never find it particularly brilliant. Plus, I'm a VO left, VO right kind of guy. I use my VO space bar. It's interesting. What you're talking about there is command space, and that brings up Spotlight. It's interesting you're saying you're getting stuck at that point. I think QuickNav can now detect form fields, so it will turn off when it goes into a form field, and then you have to turn it back on to come out of it, right? So, it will kind of automatically turn itself off when it feels like it. I feel like I don't want to work anymore. A bit like you. So
unbelievable. Okay, so basically we don't know. I think there, Doug.
You're not running a beta, are you? Because that could be a beta issue. It doesn't sound like you are, though.
It's something you haven't come across then, Stephen.
No, I mean, I don't use it enough to know. So we'll put it out to our Mac users out there who may be using QuickNav on a regular basis. But there you go.
2 dogs there.
Yeah, that's right. TJ's up next.
Hey, TJ Malloy here again. This question is for Shaun specifically because I know you use your Meta glasses for video calls on WhatsApp. I got a new pair of Meta glasses. I'm having an issue where I connect with the Aira agent. The Aira agent sends me the link to join the WhatsApp call. I join it. And when I double tap the capture button to switch the video over, it says glasses camera is active, but the video doesn't actually switch. It freezes, according to the Aira agent, it freezes like it's going to switch, but it never actually switches. The video still stays with the phone camera. It never switches. And I've spent all day, Saturday, trying to diagnose it. I've reinstalled the Meta A app and connected and reconnected the glasses to my phone and checked all the permissions that WhatsApp had the right to use my camera and everything else, and have not figured out a solution. And I was curious if you have had any type of issue like that with any of your other video calls that you've tried them on that weren't connected to Aira in some way. Just trying to figure out if this is an issue that's specific with Aira's integration with WhatsApp, or if there's a broader WhatsApp issue here. Any thoughts you might have would be welcome and appreciated.
Okay, thank you, TJ. Shaun Priest, question for you there. Do you have the answer to this problem?
I do, Stephen Scott.
Hang on, what?
No applause?
No, it's shocking.
I do, but you're not going to be happy with it. So,
buy something else.
Firstly, let me say, Windows is always the answer. The thing, it's such a love-hate relationship with the Meta Ray-Bans, because when they work, they are great. And then all of a sudden, you'll try and do something and say, nah, not doing that today. I turned them on just this morning. I was listening to something on my phone, put my glasses on, and the audio was still coming out of my phone. So, the first thing you always do if something isn't working is turn the glasses on and off again, as you do with all tech. Just turn it off and on again, and it should sort it out. In the case of the Meta Ray-Bans, there are a few more glitches that do happen. It's very inconsistent. But in this case specifically, I have spoken to TJ, and I do know the answer. And the answer is faulty glasses. It was the glasses all the way. Yes. The first thing you always think is, it's got to be something I'm doing wrong or the software's doing wrong. I haven't set the permissions. But as TJ said, excuse me, he went through, he spent a day going through all those usual settings, repairing the glasses, checking all the permissions, checking your Bluetooth settings. And it was simply they had a faulty pair of glasses. He tried it with another pair and it was absolutely spot on. So faulty hardware. It does happen.
It's funny, isn't it? Because we're so used to, I certainly growing up was used to faulty hardware. That was more common than not. Software wasn't really the big issue. How that's changed, right? Now we just think of the software being the issue. Turn it off, turn it on again. I was going to suggest that for Doug's problem. I thought he was laugh at me.
Yeah. No, it's the first rule of tech support. Turn it off and on again. And are you sure it's plugged in? But yeah, in this case, that's the trouble though, right? We're talking about different services and trying to make sure they're all connected. You got the permissions. All right, did I accidentally put on, do not allow camera access, or, is the Aira WhatsApp connection at fault, or is it the Bluetooth, or there's so many different things to check. But yeah, in this case, it was just faulty Meta Ray-Bans.
Well, glad you got it sorted between you. That's a shame. So hopefully you got that fixed, TJ, and the world is now beautiful again. I've got to say that the Aira thing is great. I love being able to do it via the glasses, but I find that process a little bit irritating in the moment. It's like, so I call up an Aira agent, then I got to get a link, and then I got to go into the link, and I got to connect through the app, and then I got to switch over. It's like, how many minutes am I using up here to do all this, And how many, I think, wasn't there a time where if you didn't hang up one call properly, you were eating into the minutes from the original call, and goodness me.
I'm sorry, it's so arbitrary. Why haven't Aira got access?
Well, it's down to Meta, isn't it? It's down to Meta opening that up. Again, this is why we're excited about this new Hypernova thing from.
No, we're not.
Well,
we're not
we
excited.
are,
Stop pushing that, Stephen
No, because
Scott.
that gives you the operating system on the glasses, which if
That's
they
because
open
it's
up
a virtual reality headset rather than smart glasses.
You have no idea what you're talking about.
I know exactly what I'm talking about at
No,
all
you
times
don't.
of
You
the day.
absolutely do not. And I can tell you that sound effect is 100% right in that occasion. No, look, what you're talking about is Meta Quest, which
No, I am not.
there's
No.
rumor that may not continue
Have
or
you
may
seen the
move on to something else.
Hypernovas?
No, because they're not out yet. But when they come out, they're going to be thicker glasses, not VR headset.
It's going to be a small
all
VR
right, all right.
headset.
Do you know what? Let's do a bet.
Massive
Do you want to do a bet?
glasses.
Do you want to do a bet on this?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah. What?
What did I bet you?
Not money, obviously.
No, not money.
All right, I'll buy you a bucket of KFC.
I tell you what, you were buying my little Mac Mini, right?
Right, okay.
Here's the thing. If Hypernova glasses, which will be regular glasses, not VR
Yes.
headset, I'm not saying what thickness the glasses will be, but not a VR headset. No. Regular glasses, right?
State your definitions.
Regular glasses, a bit thicker than what you've got with the Meta Ray-Bans. Okay, and it's going to have a small screen, just a tiny little screen inside, very much like the Google Glass of old.
Okay.
That's what I believe is coming out. And if I am right, and you say I'm wrong,
Yeah.
if I'm right,
Is it double or
then
nothing?
you don't have to pay for the Mac.
Right. Okay. All right then. Okay, we'll find out.
So there's your bet.
Yeah.
I am literally putting my money where my mouth is.
Someone's got insider knowledge here.
I don't have any insider knowledge. I promise you. I have
and
no.
Mark, I know. Zuckerberg.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to say Aflalo, no, not Zuckerberg. No, I don't have any insider knowledge, but that's why I'm going by the rumors. That's all I've been reading is about this.
Stop reading the rumors.
And the rumors are that they are going to have an operating system on there called Horizon OS, which is basically Android. And that's where potentially I think your Envision glasses, your Aira would turn up, because if they open the SDKs up to developers, which I imagine they will at Meta Connect, that would allow for that. Well, it would allow us to get those apps on there.
Why do you imagine they will for this platform, but not for the Meta Ray-Bans? They're still locking it off. Why are they locking it off?
I think honestly because they're building a visual platform. I don't think they're going to do this for the audio platform. The audio only is everything's fed from the phone. With the glasses, they want to build something that would be fed, by developers into the glasses as a standalone. That's my thinking.
Okay.
I just don't think you understand what on earth you're talking about.
I know exactly what I'm talking about, Steve. We'll see, won't we? We'll see. When's the Meta event? I forgot.
September 17. Well, that's when the keynote is. It's on actually over 2 days, but we're only interested in the keynote, let's be honest.
Tomorrow. Okay.
What?
All right. September 17th. What?
It's not tomorrow.
It is.
It's Wednesday.
What day is it? Oh, okay.
Hang on, is that tomorrow?
Anyway, it's tomorrow. You don't know what you're talking about.
We are terrible at this, aren't we?
Quickly, an email will save us.
Please, goodness, yes. Somebody save us. Let's go to Trevor.
G'day. Love the fact that the new Envision glasses are open design. Here's hoping some proprietary belts will loosen to become, wait for it, more inclusive.
Oh.
The selling point for me with my Orcam Read was that it's standalone. Do I guard it like a bag of diamonds in a mesh bag when I'm taking it anywhere? Absolutely, but I don't have to think about what I'm reading or scanning, like bank statements, government, tax, and medical forms. While I can't afford the old Solos, I think it's a huge missed opportunity if Envision doesn't continue to develop a standalone pair of glasses. Couldn't they refurb the old Solos with some of the changes users have identified? Maybe do an upgrade program like Orcam. Lots of us are dealing with limited funds, so we want the most versatile tech to help us with the widest range of basic tasks, to give us back and enhance our independence. I get that, but I think there's a place for both. Offline, standalone would open up more opportunities for work. It would probably make a lot of businesses more willing or capable of hiring more qualified blind and providing a pair of AI glasses, if they knew that remarkable assistive tool wasn't consistently checking in with someone else's server. What about finding a way to package the original Solos AI as a packet that employers could install on their own systems, or we could install on our home systems? Don't know if that kind of thing is possible. Cool if it could be, though. In the meantime, patience. I'll keep listening and try to save. Cheers, Trevor.
there's so much I could pick up on in this.
Feel free.
So I think, I know Envision have said many times, they've said it to us, that they're not a hardware company, right? They make software, they build onto platforms, right? And they've been looking for a platform exactly like you're suggesting, Trevor, a standalone platform. Now, that's not what the Ally Solos glasses are. Very similar in a lot of ways, if you think about it, to the Meta Ray-Bans, right? Essentially the hardware, yes, of course, that's hardware capability inside the glasses, but really it's all being fed by the phone. If you want that standalone experience, what you're looking at are the Envision glasses that they currently and still sell. The original Envision glasses, the original Google Glass. I think there's a slight potential issue here. And I might be getting ahead of myself because I obviously don't know what's coming out on September 17th, and I don't know what's coming out from Google. I don't know when things are going to come along. But if you have, say, the Hypernova glasses, whatever they're called when they come out, these glasses with the heads-up display in them, pair of glasses. There's a Mac Mini in this for you, by the way. So you should be quite pleased if this goes the right way. Hang on, wait a minute. Does that mean I'm wrong? If I'm wrong, I'm very confused by this bet. I think you'll probably win this bet anyway because I wouldn't even understand the rules. But with them coming out and that potential for an operating system on the glasses being opened up again, Envision could potentially say, well, here we go. Here's another pair of glasses you could have. And I just to Trevor's point, there are a lot of people out here who don't have a lot of money to spend. Where should we spend the money is the question that I get asked a lot. Where do I put my money? And now with the Ally Solos launching, you kind of think, well, hang on. If on September 17th, there is another pair of glasses with a platform and Envision pay interest in building for that, maybe they already are, who knows? Do people feel like if they buy the Ally Solos that they're suddenly being let down? What I'm getting at is, has Envision moved too quickly here, or do they need to move too quickly? This is all assumption, of course, on the basis that what is coming out and that Envision would want to build on it. But my point is, if that's their goal, should they have held off a year and actually instead said, well, let's wait till the things calm down a little bit. We see what platforms are out. We know Google are going to launch something in the next 6 months to a year. We know Meta's coming out with something in the next couple of weeks. Would it have been smarter to hold off?
Yeah, but you can keep saying that forever and ever. And I think, let's be honest, Envision glasses, the originals, were on the scene very, very quickly. And they've had a good run, but the Meta Ray-Bans is eating their dinner, basically. And how long did they let that go? They've been looking for an alternative hardware, the glasses, the Solo glasses, for a long time now. And if they've got that partnership with Ergo Solos, I think they were right to jump on it before the Meta Ray-Bans basically just take over. I think they may have painted themselves in a corner. You're absolutely right. If suddenly there is another platform, be it Ray-Ban, be it from whoever, that they can put the Envision software, Ally Assistant on, then what do they do then? Do they say, actually, no, you can only use this through the Solo glasses, the hardware we're providing? Or do they make their software more available and get their revenue from the subscription costs?
Because as a software company, that's probably where they will go. I mean, look, I think in some ways, maybe the argument is, and this is, I guess, the excitement from a company like Envision, and this is what I feel when I've spoken to the guys, Karthik in particular. I speak to them, I often think there's a real desire to get this product out in as many different forms as possible. The problem is, though, that the people who are buying it can't afford to continually buy new products. You buy that pair of glasses, that might be the only product you can buy in that year. You might save up for that year to buy it.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And maybe even 2 years, 3 years. And even if you could buy another pair in another year, would you want to? Because, that's another huge cost. So, and look, let's be honest, whatever comes out, if we are going to get a pair of glasses that are going to be, the rumor is that the Hypernova glasses, if they come out, will be around $800, which they were saying originally would be over $1,000, but they're saying they may get that down to $800. That's still a lot of money.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Yeah, absolutely. Even the Meta Ray-Bans price, people have really had to think about, but the only problem with what we've just said about Envision being a software company and possibly seeing the subscription costs or revenue from their service being the main thing. In that case, if someone already owns a pair of Ergo Solos, can then the Envision Ally software be put on those? No.
Yes, this keeps coming up, right? People keep saying, well, hang on, if I just go out and buy a pair of Solos glasses, can't Envision just... Or if I have a pair of Ergo Solo glasses, can I just...
download your software, flash my firmware on these glasses, and then they become, Ally Solos.
Well, see, this needs to be a mix.
Currently is no.
Well, the answer they told us. That's right. They told us, no, you couldn't do that.
So they're not, so they're losing the opportunity to get another subscriber to the Ally service there.
Yeah, and that
So
seems like a
obviously
missed opportunity to me. I mean, I kind of get it, but then to me that means then you are a hardware company, right?
Company, yeah.
Because if you're pushing in that direction, you're pushing me to buy your. I know it's not your hardware as such, but it is because you're selling it to me as the customer. So, and I'm coming to you for support.
Once you take a product and then customize it to become your own, is it then your hardware?
I think it is in the eyes of the customer, yes, because if wherever you go for support, right? If you were being told, well, you have to go and speak to the Ally team or the Solos team, I should say, for that, then that's different because it's like, we're just providing the software on the glasses. I don't know. It's an interesting one. I just think that things may get a bit muddled up here if we have these new operating system glasses again. Essentially the new Google Glass, which I think is fair to say whatever Google come up with. And I think it may be in that case, I think Google might launch a headset first, and this will be with Samsung, with running the Android XR platform. Whether the glasses might come second there.
No, you've got that the wrong way round. Yeah, Google glasses are going to come first, running their own OS. So will Envision go on to those?
I feel at the end of this, one of us is going to owe each other money, and we won't really understand how.
No, exactly.
Basically, you give me money and I'll just give you it back, and then that'll be it. Problem solved. There we go. I don't like this bit anymore. I'm completely lost by it. I'm completely confused. Right, let's move on. Let's hear from Charles, who wants to talk about accessible video games.
Double tappers, Charles here, and I need your help. I, like Stephen Scott, am miffed about the situation blind people find ourselves in regarding video games. I grew up playing video games, and even though I am younger than Stephen is, I feel the exact same miffness or something about the whole situation. I don't want Dice World. I don't want Night Manager. I don't enjoy MUDs. I did at one time, but it was because I had talked myself into settling. And I'm at a point in my life where I no longer want to settle for things. I think there should be more accessible video games. Now, I don't know anything about making video games, so I can't do anything about this situation. And I also know that there are accessible games, but how accessible are they? I know, for example, that the marketing around blind Minecraft playing is a little misleading. You cannot play Minecraft as a totally blind person. You need to be a low vision person of a certain visual acuity, acumen, some other A words. And I know that there are some games, like I have heard the latest Forza Motorsports game can be played completely blind, I think. I don't have any experience. Where should I start? I know the genre of game that I would enjoy playing. Well, there are a couple of genres. I want open world games. I want the sort of Zelda Breath of the Wild experience, the Subnautica experience. Minecraft would be nice, but I'm not sure if that's doable. But I would enjoy other games too, I think. And just the experience of playing a game again in general, I think would be nice. But it's a lot of money to invest into something that I am uncertain if it would be accessible for me. Somebody who's functionally blind, I cannot see a screen well enough to play any type of video game anymore. Even Pong is beyond me, which is sad. It's just the tragedy. So what should I do about it? What games are there currently? Who can we talk to? What do double tappers? How video game blind person, please?
What a wonderful way to ask that question. That's a Stephen Scott way of asking a question. How do things happen? Stephen, please help. Yeah.
Okay.
You're
the gamer, Stephen.
Oh yeah, I'm the gamer. Yeah, me and my truck.
Me and Night Manager.
Had to hang up my.
Yes.
Don't be offensive to truck
CB.
drivers. My CB radio, yes. Had to hang that up a while ago. Yeah, and I'm kind of at that point as well now. There's no way I could play a video game realistically at all on any kind of console. No, I mean in terms of visual gameplay, it's just not realistic for me. I can't even. I mean, I've tried. Even like the games on the iPhone, like Words with Friends, if that's still a thing. I remember that was a thing for a while. I can't do all that now. Just can't do it. So
it's gone. Yes, we need accessible games, and accessibility into mainstream games is a thing, and it's done. It's had a huge amount of work done on it in the last few years, thanks to a lot of people in our community. But I'm still of the opinion, and I know people are going to shout at me for this. I still don't quite. I think that if you're playing a game totally non-visually, that it changes either the game mechanics or the feel of the game or the way you experience the game. And that sounds so obvious, the way you experience the game. But can it still be the same if you're doing it non-visually, just using audio cues? I'm not entirely convinced on this, but I know lots of people are working on, people have made accessible Xbox games and PlayStation games. How many of them are accessible if you're totally blind? Honestly, I don't know. But there are people out there working on this. And, caniplaythat.com, maybe a good resource to start with and maybe get some people more informed.
I think there's a part of me would love to play a lot of these games that are mentioned, but I kind of just feel... Best way I can put this is I had a friend who said to me once, that he doesn't watch television because he just doesn't enjoy audio description. He's nothing against audio description, of course, would champion it, would want to be the first to stand up and say, this is an important thing we should all have access to. But for him personally, it was crumbs off the table. That's what he felt it was. It was never giving him the picture that he needed. Now, television and gaming are very different things, I would argue. I mean, you can still get something from a TV show. With audio description, of course, it makes all the difference. But I think you could probably get more out of that than you can in a game because it's such a live, dynamic, vibrant environment. So it's harder to, you can sort of go with a story. Even if you miss a bit, you can kind of pick it up later on. I think that's different with gaming. And
absolutely. TV is a passive experience.
That's right. You're not involved.
Gaming
you're not the character.
Interactive. Yeah.
So it's different, but it's similar in that way. And I think that thinking is kind of where I'm at with gaming now. I feel as much as I'd love to spend the money on a PlayStation 5 Pro or whatever it is, and sit there all night playing, Grand Theft Auto. Even if it was fully accessible, what would that actually be like? I think that it's the it goes back to this argument we've made before about accessibility and usability. And I'm not saying that it's terrible or it's bad because I haven't played. I maybe this is the point, but again, it's like Charles says, it's a huge investment to get into this to find out the experience is meh.
And it's, look, when it comes to the accessibility in mainstream AAA games, I totally understand it. And I think, it should be pushed. Absolutely. I'm kind of thinking for low vision. I mean, I played games right till the very end, and that was slowing them down on the PC, to quarter speed or whatever it may be. And I still got a lot of fun out of doing that. There came a point where, I just couldn't do that anymore. And I'm kind of a little bit cautious about saying, well, it's not going to be the same experience because I said the same thing when the touchscreens started to come through with the mobile phones. Well, how could it possibly be accessible? How can we use that? And I kind of think there may be that moment when it comes to totally blind accessible video games. Maybe it's not until you experience it, you say, actually, this does work. I just couldn't conceive how this worked. But honestly, I haven't tried it. I'm not going to invest the money in a console to try it out.
I know personally I have a lot of cognitive load issues. Sometimes you can just take too much on. I find listening to my phone sometimes, it absolutely does my head in. And even that, just sitting going through Twitter of an evening, I think that's why I changed voice so much on my phone because I just can't listen to it anymore. I'm like, I can't do this. And I know initially when you're switching over from moving from essentially the visual world to the non-visual world, meaning
moving into your blind apartment.
Yes, right. Yeah. Putting braille on the walls. Getting rid of the TV and putting a radio in. That kind of thing.
Bubble wrapping any sharp corners.
That's right. Yeah, bubble wrap everything. When you're moving from that world, which is essentially low vision, so you're moving away from the screen to using a screen reader. There are moments where you just, like Douglas said earlier, you want to take your device and chuck it out the nearest window. I get that. I 100% get that. But I'm kind of past that point. I've now realized it's just I think I have an issue with, and I don't think I'm alone in this, that I think there's a lot of people who just struggle with that amount of audio all the time. So going into another world of you really got to listen to this and you really got to take this on board to play this game like Forza. I mean, as wonderful as it sounds to drive that way, am I really getting a huge amount of enjoyment out of it, or am I trying to get a huge amount of pain out of it by trying to play it? I haven't played. I haven't experienced it, so it's unfair to criticize it. Hence why I'm asking questions more than anything else. But I suppose, I remember we were having a chat, you were chatting on the interview we did about colouring books a while ago. It was on the Extra.
That's right, yeah.
And you said to the lady who we were speaking to, I think her name was Denise, you said, what is it, as a totally blind person, what do you get out of this? What do you get out of colouring in? What's the big deal for you?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I'm kind of there as well, and obviously there's an answer to that. We just need to figure out what that answer is.
Like I say, I didn't quite put it that nastily.
You did.
But yes, that was the general gist.
You said, what on earth are you doing colouring in?
You know what? We're all about, hey, don't exclude us from mainstream video games. But I got to say, right, accessible games on the other hand, and you've got the example there of Night Manager and Dice World. Absolutely true. There seems to be a genre or a limited genre when it comes to accessible audio games. I just don't think it's been done right yet. I remember, and I keep saying this, I'm going to keep saying this, Audio Defense. Any of the OGs out there remember Audio Defense? It was amazing. A shooting game, and you used to have to spin around because it would use the accelerometer in your phone, and there was a zombie coming behind you. You have to turn around and get your shotgun out. It was amazing. It was totally mishandled by the developer, by the publisher, and it went away. That is the future of accessible games. It is possible. It is doable. Just no one's doing it right at the minute.
Was that built audio only? Was that or audio first?
Audio first using a 3D engine. Now, the 3D audio engine had bugs in it that meant when iOS updated, it just stopped working, and they weren't happy enough. They didn't want to invest in it. So for me, that was one of those moments like when I got the iPhone and, used Tap C, and it read something out to me, identified a product, and I went, this is amazing. Exactly the same with a game called Audio Defense. I thought, I can play games again, and it feels like a first-person shooter. It was absolutely amazing, and it was just went away, and it's never been done since. Circus Master was a very close clone of it, but again, just didn't work right. The mechanics weren't right. So it is possible.
Yeah.
But
something?
You just need someone to do it.
I think you're right. I think a lot of it comes down to the implementation, right? And a lot of it comes down to just, I think, being creative in the audio space. I mean, I hear a lot of people talk about this at broadcast conferences. They say, the power of audio, especially when it comes to podcasting and storytelling. We've got this big new Harry Potter series that's launching on Audible. Yeah. And that's going to be a big deal because it's a full cast and I imagine full dramatized and spatial audio and all of that. And, we're kind of moving towards that in that audio sphere because, I'll be honest, for a long time, radio drama, I love radio drama, but I often just find it's a little bit, because it all feels very, it feels like a bunch of people standing in a room, just talking to lecterns. And, they're adding in a couple of sound effects later on. It feels like that. It doesn't have that kind of sense of space, that sense of, the drama isn't quite the same. You obviously don't have, you're not going to get, I don't know, insert Hollywood A-lister here to star in it because it's not paying enough, and it might not pay enough to pay their ridiculous for the ridiculous lifestyles they want to lead. So, for that reason, you're not going to get them. That annoys me. Because I'd love to see like a Brad Pitt in one of these things, or whoever, because I think that'd be great. It would kind of really take it up a gear, and it would allow the people behind it to be more creative. I'm sure there's plenty of creative people out there who can do this stuff. Gaming's the same. You could be creative in this space, and it sounds like with that audio defense you're talking about, they had it nailed.
Oh, it was amazing.
So,
I mean, there was others in the same similar thing, like Papa Songre and
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, but for me, that was, again, it's very much on rails. You make a decision, it's almost like, was it Read Adventures? You remember those? Make your own adventure books. Turn to page 7. It was very much like that. This felt different. This felt like a mainstream game, and I really miss it, and I wish someone would try it again.
Charles, thank you for the question. I think there was a question in there. And
CanIPlayThat.com. Try there first. I think that's still going. CanIPlayThat.com for disabled gamers. See if you can get any more assistance there.
Yeah, it's a great resource. And Sightless Combat, of course, is one name to look out, who now works at RNIB, my old place. And you should check him out because he's fantastic. And a totally blind player. And he makes the point of saying that quite a lot because this accusation, I suppose you could say, it's maybe a strong word for it, but there's a lot of times people tend to say, but this is for low vision, or, the people are talking this up are low vision. Not always the case.
I just did.
Well, I know you did, and I get where you're coming from, but there's a lot of people who kind of almost make the point, they dismiss a lot of these games as being, it's just for people who've got some vision left. But that's not always the case. And a lot of the people, like Ben there, Sightless Combat as he's known, he is totally blind, so he is getting something out of this. So there's a key to this. We just need to figure out what it is. It's almost like a game. Right, let's move on. We've got time for one more. Jim wants to shout at sighted people. Okay.
Oh,
okay. I'm sorry. I need to rant. This is Jim. I was just talking to my local library representative about Libby, which is a great app, and I know we've talked about it before. But when I was talking to her, I explained to her that I was blind, but she kept telling me about circles to the right where certain information was and looking for something in red. And I mentioned once again that I was blind. And then the third time she made a reference to some line or something, I said, man, I really haven't been able to make reference to colors or graphics in about 35 years. She said, well, I figured you had someone there helping you do it. And I said, well, I might. I said, but we sort of been working toward being independent for a very long time in the blind community. And especially in the United States, people stopped having people do things for them sometime around 1855. But I just really got frustrated because I've heard you guys talk about it on the show, about trying to explain to people you're blind, and they continue to make references to graphics and shapes on the screen. So I'm sorry, I needed to do a rant. And I know once in a while you guys do your rant, and I appreciate them, and I just wanted to share one. So hopefully the person at the Alachua County Library System in Gainesville, Florida figured that out. If she didn't, she's just totally still oblivious to the fact that a man who is blind can use Libby independently if given the right information. Sometimes we just need to share with each other our rants and our frustration with people that don't listen. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, no, thank you, Jim. I appreciate it. And, that is nothing unusual there, I'm afraid. We've all experienced this so many times. My favorite one has to be, and again, it's just about lack of awareness, was the time I had walked into a hotel using my cane. I fell down 3 steps going in. I didn't notice them at first. The cane didn't pick them up, or I was doing something wrong. One of the two. I was pulling my little case along at the time. Tripped down one of the steps, fell down the other 2, stood up, got myself to reception, and the person said, welcome to the hotel. What's your car registration?
Yeah.
And I said...
Someone could have driven you, Stephen Scott.
Well, yeah, possibly, but why would I know the registration? I mean, do I know the registration number of the taxi? I can maybe give you the Uber one, but that's about it. I mean, again, it was like, it's just so, I don't know. People just, and when you say, well, I'm blind, oh yeah, I did notice. So it's not like they didn't see, right? They saw.
Yeah.
But it was almost like, I also think sometimes these people are just fed a script and they're told you've got to ask these questions, even if it seems ridiculous. It's almost like, well, am I being exclusive by not asking you if you have a car? Which is another side of that argument as well.
It can be a minefield for people, right?
Of course it is.
Knowing how not to offend someone. Yeah, I think people just blue screen sometimes. They just see someone with a disability and
just a beach ball rolling about in their head.
Not responding, basically.
Yeah, I get that feeling quite a lot. But it is good to rant about it. There's not a lot we can do about it, obviously, for you, Jim. But sometimes just hearing it, and there's a lot of people about there nodding their heads, going, "Yep, been there."
We're listening, Jim. We're listening.
We get it. Totally. That is it for us today. We're back again tomorrow. Feedback at doubletaponair.com, 1613-481-0144. That's our WhatsApp number. You can drop us a message there. If you'd like to, you can send us an audio message or even a video message. Still looking for some of those to come in. But if you just want to send audio, that is fine too. And of course, if you send us an email to feedback at doubletaponair.com, the lovely Laura will read it. No AI around here. It's all humans. Human beings.
Are you sure?
Laura, is she AI? That's a question we could ask on Extra one day. We could actually maybe see if we can get Laura on. See if although
we'll make it happen.
I know what will happen. The conspiracy theory will be, well, you scripted that conversation and you've got 11 labs to do it.
We'll do it live.
Well, we'll do it live. How do you do it live? Okay, listen, that is it for us today. Thank you as always, and I will catch you for another one tomorrow. Keep in touch.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Want the double tap solo now?
Double tap solo.
Okay. Yeah, you nearly forgot.